Hello, everybody. Randy Bufford here, and just wanted to take a few brief moments of your time to give you some updates. We started off this month with a pretty broad agenda group of items on T-mail, and you might want to refer back to those from time to time on just where we're heading. But just as a few updates, we've had our first leadership meeting of the year, and as you might suspect, there's really not a lot of news coming out of that. It was really more just grinding details on how we're going to execute on those initiatives that I outlined for this year in our T-mail, including, our business plans that we've talked a lot about and making the right judgment decisions around those. We talked a great deal about execution, whether it's with our clinical programs and some of the great things that we've added in there, whether it's working on a revised shift differential, which is rolling out February 1st for the organization. A lot of details, and then, as you might expect, because it's one of our top pillar goal items, we spent a fair bit of time covering our bottom or top 20 opportunity campuses on turnover. And certainly, I think as we talked about all these issues, and I'll come right back to turnover here in just a second, I think it's important to understand that we have the tools and the toolkit and the strategies and the features to execute in each of these areas, whether it's clinical resources and clinical programs, whether it's in our dining services, any of the areas. We have all the right things. We have data, we have analytics, we have information, we have strategies, policies, procedures. And I think this year is going to be about executing and holding people accountable for that execution and being fair to the others that are executing, because I think that is part of wellness and equity, is doing things the same for everybody. So look for more of that. But as I mentioned, we talked a great deal about turnover. And I don't think this is a revelation for any of us when you hear what I'm going to talk about, but I think a reminder. We have great benefit programs. By and large, we have great culture. Through our SHIP programs, we have wage equity. We've been working hard on scheduling equity and those kind of things. And when you identify our employee experience, and people are leaving, I think after listening to a lot of different things in our meeting and going, probing and kind of listening to our executives talk about the campuses that are challenged, it comes back to a central key theme, and it's leadership, and it's the leaders. And I used to, when I was working on turnover with campuses, I would always ask them to look in the mirror if you have a turnover problem. And I'll say the same for those that have very low turnover. Look in the mirror. You're doing things right. But those campuses that aren't, excelling in turnover, that are, employee retention, that are struggling, I think a lot of it is leadership, and it's execution, yes, of our hiring practices, hiring the right people. But people don't leave Trilogy because we're a bad place to work, or we don't have the right benefits, or we don't have the right tools to do your job. I would say people stay there because of that. People leave other people in their relationships. And so I'm going to be working real hard and pressing our teams forward to identify, make sure we got the right leaders. Our employees deserve the right leaders. And I'm going to be diligent about it, and I'm going to be firm. Because sometimes it's not about the leader. In fact, most of the time it's not. We care too much about leaders and not enough about the people they're leading. And so certainly I'm going to be firm on this, and I'm going to give everybody an opportunity to be a great leader for our people. I think that's the right thing to do. But if they can't retain their employees, something's wrong with them, not us. We have all the right tools in the toolkit and enough evidence based by all the great facilities and great people we have that are doing it, not to tolerate lack of cultural and retention-oriented leadership. Now, we're just going to be on top of this turnover and trying to improve the employee experience. So I'm going to go with one more thing. We are rolling out Ready App. And January 23rd, it's going to go system-wide. I'm already signed up. We signed up a few more people at the leadership meeting. It's going to be a great relationship-oriented communication thing. And it'll allow us to disseminate information to groups, but we're not going to be able to do that reply all. And if there are going to be conversations, it's not going to be 50 people on there. It's going to be one-on-one. You can only send it back to one person at one time. Don't consider that to be limiting in any way, shape, or form, because relationships are one-on-one. They're one person at a time. And yes, we're going to open up the app to other uses as well. I mean, already out there is some cultural leadership stuff. Our employee benefit guide, we'll be adding more things into it. And, you know, some of those system-wide policies and procedures, sort of like the employee manual, will be out there. It won't be to store policies and procedures to help us do our job. It's not going to replace our K drive. But again, just another toolkit that we're going to give our leaders so we can force retention down. The last couple of months, we've gotten a touch better, and that's a hell of a lot better than getting a touch worse, but we still have lots of room. This great investment we're making in ship wages is going to help. But again, nothing will replace the relationship, the trust that our employees place in us as leaders. And that's why they stay with us. They stay with us for the great things the organization does for all of us, and they stay with it because of great relationships in their department, in the Trilogy family, and more specifically with those that are leading them. And when they have great comfort and trust there, we don't have the problems. So again, in closing, let's get off to the very best start. Let's do that execution. I'm working hard on this turnover issue. Right behind this video today, I'm going to put a short introductory video to Ready App. I'll talk a little bit more about that. But again, it's people that people leave, not the company. Take care. Have a great week, and look forward to seeing everybody out and around in the field. See you.